Gabe Vincent scored 23 points, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo each had 21, and the Miami Heat evened up the NBA Finals by overcoming a monster effort from Nikola Jokic to beat the Denver Nuggets 111-108 in Game 2 on Sunday night. Max Strus scored 14 and Duncan Robinson had 10 for the Heat, who had a big early lead, then were down by as many as 15 before reclaiming the lead in the fourth. Miami outscored Denver 36-25 in the final period, erasing an 8-point deficit going into the final frame. And even then, they had to dig deep to finish Denver off. Jokic scored 41 points and was 16 of 28 from the floor, the last of those shots a 4-footer with 36 seconds left to get the Nuggets within 3. Denver elected not to foul on the ensuing Miami possession. Butler missed a 3, and with a chance to tie, Jamal Murray missed a 3-pointer at the buzzer. "Our guys love to compete," said Heat coach Erik Spoelstra after the game. "They love to put themselves out there in those moments of truth." Spoelstra singled out Vincent for praise. "He's a special guy. He really is," he said of Vincent, who was undrafted coming out of college but has been superb in this year's playoffs. Murray had 18 points and 10 assists for Denver, while Aaron Gordon had 12 points and Bruce Brown scored 11. Jokic had 4 assists, significantly down on the 14 he had recorded in Game 1. Nuggets coach Michael Malone said after the game that he had been unimpressed by some of his players' performances. "This is the NBA Finals and we're talking about effort," he said. "That's a huge concern of mine. You guys probably thought I was making up some kind of storyline after Game 1 when I said we didn't play well, but we didn't play well. This is not the preseason or the regular season, this is the NBA Finals. Miami came in here and outworked us. Game 3 is on Wednesday in Miami." Denver had been 11-0 with a double-digit lead in the playoffs. Strus, who was 0 for 10 in Game 1, had 4 3-pointers in the first quarter of Game 2. Butler made a jumper with 4:56 left in the opening quarter to put Miami up 21-10, tying the second biggest lead any opponent had built in Denver so far in these playoffs. In a flash, it was gone and then some. The Nuggets outscored Miami 32-11 over the next 9 minutes, turning the double-digit deficit into a double-digit lead thanks to an absolute 3-point barrage. In a 70-second span early in the second quarter, Denver got 4 threes more points than Miami got in that entire 9-minute stretch, and they came from 4 different players: Bruce Brown, then Jeff Green, then Murray, then Gordon. Murray had 5 straight points to end the flurry, and Denver led 44-32 when it was over. The Heat managed to close the gap to 57-51 by the half, but whatever good feeling Miami had after the opening minutes was long gone. From there, the fight was on. Miami didn't let Denver get away, then found a way to clinch victory in the fourth. The series moves to Miami for the next 2 games, with Game 3 on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC. The Heat were better in the second game after a sluggish performance in Game 1 coming off a 7-game Eastern Conference Finals series against Boston. They did what they said they would do. The Heat were more aggressive, made more 3-pointers, shot 20 free throws, 18 more than they did in Game 1, and limited the scoring of Denver players not named Nikola Jokic. He scored 18 of his game-high 41 points in the third quarter. The Heat, who have won at least 1 road game in the opening 2 games of a playoff series this season, made a decision: Jokic will score. Don't let the rest of the Nuggets beat you. Jamal Murray had just 18 points after 26 points and 10 assists in Game 1. Michael Porter Jr. had just 5 points and 6 rebounds after 14 and 12 in the opener, and Aaron Gordon had 12 points after 16 in Game 1. They force you to have to compete at a super high level, but you have to do it with a brain and you have to do it with discipline, Heat coach Erik Spoelstra said. The Heat made 17 shots from behind the arc on 48.6% shooting, a significant improvement over 33.3% shooting in Game 1. It was Denver's first home loss of the playoffs, and Miami has won at least one game on the road in the first 2 games of each series this season. There's no debating it anymore, the Miami Heat are one of the greatest 8 seeds in the history of basketball. If there's anyone thinking otherwise, the records they broke after Game 2 against the Denver Nuggets is proof enough. The Miami Heat made history in a plethora of ways during Game 2 of the NBA Finals. They officially have the most wins in a postseason by an 8th seed in NBA history, and are the first 8th seed to win a road game in the NBA Finals. In terms of these playoffs, Miami is the first team to give the Denver Nuggets their first home loss in the playoffs. It's also the first time the Denver Nuggets have lost at home since March 30th. The Miami Heat have to be one of the hardest teams to bet on and predict in NBA history. No one expected them to beat the Milwaukee Bucks, no one expected them to defeat the Boston Celtics, and no one expected them to steal Game 2 on the road against the Denver Nuggets. They are doing all of this without Tyler Herro, too. Every single time it seems like the Miami Heat should be counted out, they find a new way to win, or somehow go on a miraculous scoring burst. The Denver Nuggets have officially been punched in the mouth. It's the first time they've been 1-1 all playoffs and lost home court. Now, it's time to see how they respond. Nikola Jokic made history Sunday when he became the first center in NBA history to accumulate both at least 500 points and 100 assists in a single postseason, according to the league. The 2-time MVP achieved the mark toward the end of the third quarter in Game 2 of the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat. He was leading the Nuggets with 31 points and added 3 assists at the time. He had 18 points in the third quarter alone. Jokic made history earlier in the postseason when he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record with his 8th triple-double of the playoffs. In Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, when the Nuggets swept the Los Angeles Lakers, he finished with 30 points, 14 rebounds and 13 assists and was named the series MVP. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals when Denver beat the Heat 104-93, Jokic finished with 27 points, 10 rebounds and 14 assists. He didn't make his first basket, which was also his first shot attempt, until the seconds of the first quarter. Duncan Robinson sparks fourth quarter Heat rally to stun Nuggets, tie series at 1-1. The Denver Nuggets were in control of Game 2. Duncan Robinson had other ideas. The backup Heat forward sparked a fourth quarter run that saw Miami rally for a 111-108 Game 2 win in the NBA Finals on Sunday. The series shifts to Miami on Wednesday tied at 1-1. After an 18-point third quarter from Nikola Jokic, Denver entered the fourth with an 83-75 lead. But Robinson, who entered the final quarter scoreless, went on a personal 8-2 run to start the stanza and cut Denver's lead to 85-83. A 12-0 Miami run later, and the Heat led 90-85. They never trailed again. The strong fourth quarter bookended a hot start from Miami that saw the Heat take a 26-23 first quarter lead. The Nuggets responded with a strong effort from their bench in the second and Jokic's big third to reassert control. But the shooting touch that eluded Miami in Game 1 returned for Game 2 as the Heat shot 48.7% from the field, including a 48.6%, 17 of 35 clip from long distance. 6 Heat players hit multiple three-pointers, with Gabe Vincent leading the way on a 4 of 6 effort en route to 23 points. After shooting 0 of 10 from the field in Game 1, Max Strus hit 4 three-pointers in the first quarter in a 4 of 10 effort from long distance for 14 points. Jimmy Butler hit 2 of 5 three-pointers in a 21-point, 9-assist performance, while Robinson, 10 points, Kyle Lowry, 9 points, and Kevin Love, 6 points, 10 rebounds, hit 2 each. Bam Adebayo, meanwhile, did the bulk of his damage in the post while tallying 21 points and 9 rebounds.